Alright, so this is a video I've kept up in the archives for maybe about a few weeks to close to a month. The reason I held back was because, well, Boruto in July was probably the worst month of Boruto ever. So the need to make content just wasn't there, and during that month I'd rather prioritize real life stuff instead. Especially when you factor in my last video, which literally discussed how I thought this court arc would end, it was really hard thinking of any ideas to upload that didn't feel forced like some of my past videos. And I know I said I had some things to cover, but it was really just those daemon explained kind of videos. Nothing really too interesting, just straight power scaling. But thankfully, with the new chapter coming this week and hopefully actual interesting things to talk about, my motivation kicked back in, so here we are. Welcome to today's power scaling video where we are going to be ranking the strongest Boruto characters. If you're wondering why I haven't added some characters like Ten Tails Madara or Kaguya or any of the other Tsutskis, it's because I've talked about them for what it feels like 3 videos now, and I'm kind of getting tired of it. And for the most part, they don't even come close to being a part of the strongest in the tier verse, so yeah, the characters you see here are the ones that I will be scaling in this video. Characters like Mitsuki and Sarada are just not even close. So I'm not gonna bother with them either. Now, before we begin, I've done videos like these a few amount of times, and there's always that one person who skips to the end and doesn't listen to my reasoning on why I feel like what I feel. So if you heavily disagree with where I place someone, that's fine of course, but please at least listen to my argument before ranting on in the comments, because I will not be re-explaining my points to someone who didn't bother to listen as to why I put that person where I did. If you still disagree, again, that's perfectly fine, but I won't lie when I say it is a headache to argue with people that don't at least listen to why first before anything, because those are the ones that are genuinely too stubborn to argue with. And another thing to point out is that I am going to set a boundary on how I rank these characters, and that boundary is that dimension hopping or teleporting characters cannot run away and wait it out. By that, I mean characters like Sasuke can't drop Naruto and Kaguya's lava dimension and leave him there, which I guess eventually he would starve, which in time would kill him. I was going to include that kind of logic, but thanks to some convincing of my friends, I am no longer doing that. If you are there to fight, then no running away no matter what happens. So with that being said, let's begin with the legend / Hokage level tier list, which, if it wasn't obvious already, belongs to both Karma Kawaki and Karma Boruto version 1. Now, as you can see, I'm putting Kawaki above Naruto because yes, despite the fact that Boruto is far more versatile than Kawaki, almost if not everything he shoots at him in this point in time of the story gets absorbed, which in return powers up Kawaki. Using ninjutsu would just be to Kawaki's benefit, so it would have to be a battle of taijutsu with the Karma buff, and it's obvious Kawaki wins that one due to him being way more experienced with the Karma seal. So again, this tier goes to Karma Kawaki and Karma Boruto. Without them, we wouldn't even need this tier if I'm going to be honest. Now the god tier, to which belongs to like 80% of the characters here, and that's Jigen, Naruto, Sasuke, Momoshiki, Kawashiki, Borushiki, Code Limited, Boruto Karma version 2, Kashin Koji, Boro, and Delta. Now I will say it was very hard to decide between Boruto Karma version 2 and Kashin Koji, because I think Kashin Koji is a pretty underrated fighter. Like yes, he only did beat a 10% jigen, but at the same time, even if it was short, the man was blocking attacks from full power isshiki. However, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Boruto Karma version 2 is on par with Code, and Code is stronger than Koji for what I feel like is because of the Karma buff. Sage mode is powerful, but we're also talking about a Karma, which is a buff given by the Otsutsuki. I'm putting Boro ahead of Delta because Boro was able to take on Team 7 and force borushiki out despite getting killed in seconds by him. And this is counting a Team 7 that involves both Karma Boruto and Karma Kawaki going 100%. Let's also not forget, base Kawaki was able to react fast enough to Delta's light speed beam, where as I said, Boro was holding his own pretty well against a full Team 7 squad. And yes, Delta was fighting adult Naruto, but he was also holding back a great ton and also had the advantage of Naruto's kids and the village close by, to where Naruto couldn't go all out and she still lost fairly easily. Her light speed beams at point blank couldn't even hit Naruto when she had him pinned down, and was overall overwhelmed by him in the end. Let's also not forget that base Naruto was holding his own against her. I'm putting Code above Karma Boruto version 2 because of experience overall. They are fairly close, but honestly for the sake of this man's pride, because he really needs a W on something, I'm just gonna give him the lead on this one. Borushiki being above Code is a no-brainer, and yes, I'm talking about 82% Borushiki and not 80%. Without Naruto and Shikamaru interfering, I think Borushiki would have come to rather force Code to retreat or outright kill him, to where even Ada said he stands absolutely no chance. And I'm putting Kawashiki above Borushiki because had it not been for Naruto interfering, Borushiki would have died sooner than later. And for the people saying Kawaki only won that because Boruto was waking up, So that's how the transformation works. If he chooses to absorb ninjutsu, then he suffers the consequence of losing control. That's like me saying if Baryon mode didn't have the durability restriction, Naruto could have beat Ishiki even before Kawaki got teleported. That's how the transformation works, restricted or not. The only way this logic is valid is with Ishiki, because technically Ishiki was at full power, he just suffered from Jigen not being able to handle it, which put him at a 2-day restriction. But Ishiki himself, forget the narrative and how he resurrected, that 2-day lifespan isn't normally how an Itsuki functions. He was simply restricted narratively because he was too powerful, not because it's how he or other Itsukis work. And honestly, even aside from all this, Kawaki was making borushiki work and even tagged him down once to where borushiki didn't and couldn't even get Kawaki at point blank unexpectedly. Like I said before, with Karma Boruto and Kawaki, anything that borushiki tries to do gets absorbed and works towards Kawaki's benefit. This would be a match of taijutsu for borushiki, but since Kawaki knows ninjutsu now, he can also use that to his benefit and attack through both taijutsu and ninjutsu. Of course, Momoshiki is up next, and for anyone disagreeing on him being placed after Naruto and Sasuke, since they tag teamed him and how in the third act, Naruto chose not to fight again and relied on Boruto, while Sasuke was pinned down by Momoshiki even when he did choose to fight. To that, it is the same thing as Ishiki. Strictly for the sake of the narrative, did Boruto have to be the one to defeat him? How is Naruto going to be the one to kill Momoshiki, obtain a karma, and have the story be called Boruto? The narrative always has to come first before the scaling does when it comes to major plot points. Naruto and Sasuke, when getting serious, are definitely capable. However, I do think one-on-one it is definitely a lot closer compared to them two tag teaming him. Now, this Naruto versus Sasuke debate has been going on for what it feels like centuries. Naruto is of course stronger than Sasuke. That isn't an argument. He is absolutely cracked, insane amount of chakra, extremely durable, but let's also not downplay Sasuke, who has ninjutsu absorption, a teleportation move that stops time as it is performed since it is instantaneous, you know, etc, etc. No need for me to dive deep into this. I've already made a video discussing the 6-path differences between Naruto and Sasuke, so feel free to check it out if you want. And lastly, Jigen, of course, is the strongest god tier character on this list. That is not up for debate. I don't think I need to explain myself, and if there is one person on this list that we can both agree on, it is him and where he places. So let's now move on to the strongest in the verse, which I'm sure is what you all have been waiting for. Now again, like I said in the beginning, nothing wrong with disagreeing on my placements, but at least listen to why I put them where I did. In the strongest of the verse tier, I'm going with Baryon mode, Ishiki, Daemon, then 100% Code. Now, Code is another character I think we can all agree on, so I'm not gonna bother going deep into him, especially since he's featless, but honestly, Baryon mode Naruto is probably the most disrespected character on this list. It doesn't even stop at some Boruto fans, it goes beyond that to fans of other series. The most illogical points I keep on seeing is if a character going up against Baryon mode Naruto is durable enough to outlast him, then by definition, they win. What I don't get about that argument is why people think that the same way Naruto was fighting Ishiki has to be the same way he fights everyone else. Naruto choosing to fight Ishiki that way was an option. He didn't have to. If Naruto goes up against anyone else, why would he not just blow up the planet they are at? Yes, it may have to be a one and done move because I'm sure Baryon mode would run out, but the goal here is to kill the other person. And Baryon mode is definitely strong enough to do so. If 6-path Naruto and Sasuke combined an attack that traveled continents, Baryon mode, who is on another spectrum to those two, can definitely blow up a planet. And when we also factor in how I said characters in this tier list cannot run, that is why I'm putting Baryon mode Naruto at number 1. Fighting Ishiki the way he did was just to take him down in a for sure way. A way where even if he tried to run, wouldn't matter because his lifespan would catch up to him in minutes. But against Daemon or any other character, he doesn't have to fight like this. If anything, fighting like that is what causes him to lose. This should never be how Naruto fights anybody else. And when we discuss Ishiki versus Daemon, I went back to read the Kawaki arc to see any compliments given to Ishiki, any statements, and all there is a model saying that there is no chance at all if Ishiki fully resurrects, and Koji stating how immense Ishiki's power is. On Daemon's side, you do have a model stating that he is far greater than Jigen, but that is all. His first fight against Code isn't something to go off of because we don't know exactly how strong Code is. Daemon stated that he seemed to be stronger than Jigen, while a model states that he surpasses Jigen's power. So I think it's safe to say Code is stronger than Jigen, but still a far cry to Ishiki's full power. Daemon, on the other hand, I don't think would get beat by Ishiki as bad as Code, but I am sticking with Ishiki being stronger than Daemon simply because it was always stated that he was far stronger than Jigen, never once mentioning Ishiki, and if he was stronger than Ishiki, I just don't understand why a model wouldn't say it. If you really want to show how menacing and powerful the character is, you of course would compare him to the best of the best. To say Daemon surpasses Ishiki or even Baryon mode is nothing but people applying their own headcanons with no real concrete statements. Daemon doesn't have enough fights or the right statements that prove prove he's on the same level as Baryon mode. It's just not true. The kid isn't the almighty Christ. He's strong for sure, but not that strong. And that, everyone, is my current Boruto power tier list. I feel strong about this list, and I know True Essence or 100% Boruto was skipped out, and that's only because we obviously haven't seen him fight yet. If I were to guess, I'd say he'd be right under Momoshiki, but when we do see what he's capable of, I'll be sure to make an explained video on that, which honestly may only be like 2 to 3 chapters away. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd very much appreciate a like, and for more, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're back again Friday early afternoon for the chapter review to discuss what I got wrong and right in my theory video, since we know Amato is going to reveal his plan, so hopefully I'll see you all then.